In today's day and age, it's often said that men need to overcompensate. Well, here you have this tiny little character from a very early on video game from Nintendo, and his name was Mega Man. Now, as we know, he was very short in stature, so where was the Mega from? As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Thanks for tuning into the Extreme channel. I am excited more than normal today to unpack a brand new collectible. This is by First Four Figures, and this is Mega Man from Mega Man 11. Now, if you're a follower of the channel, you know that I am not a gamer. However, like most kids that grew up in the 80s and 90s, that's last millennium, there were some quintessential games to growing up. Mega Man was one of those, among others like Super Mario Bros., Sonic, Street Fighter 2, and the original Final Fantasy. So that is what I've been focusing on for my video game collection. I want my top favorite games from growing up, which I just listed them, in a display together next to my MAME arcade here in my basement. Now, if you want to see what they look like, go ahead and check out this recent room tour we did last month. Now, Mega Man wasn't included, but I showed you where he's going to go. Now, all I need is for Prime 1 Studio to finally reveal that Final Fantasy piece that they teased in their last showcase. So, Mega Man is here, and as I said, this is from Mega Man 11, which I've never played. I grew up with 1, 2, and 3. I remember back in the day, we would actually go rent those games from Blockbuster. Blockbuster was a retail location that actually rented out movies and videos. You're like, what, Mr. X? Why couldn't you just push the button on your TV and they'd appear? Because life did not work that way. But Mega Man was one of our favorite ones to rent, absolutely. So this is very nostalgic for me, which is why I'm so excited. Now this is by First Four Figures, which I have a number of pieces. And a lot of those are video game pieces because that's kind of what they focus on, video game and anime. Now the first piece I ever got from them is right here, this Sonic piece. Then I picked up Bowser and Mario to go with them. And while they're doing statues of video game characters and anime characters, I consider First Four Figures to be a good, affordable company. However, they're not as high-end as a lot of the stuff I'm used to reviewing. And that's evident in some of the past reviews I've done, and you're going to see that today. But that doesn't mean I don't love the shit out of this piece, because I really do. Let's talk about why I love the shit out of something, which that's kind of weird, and we should probably talk about what that means. But we'll talk about this guy at least, and I think we're going to start off with the concept, which is what puts this over the top. If anybody even sees this, I don't think YouTube's notifying you guys of my member stuff anymore, because I launched like 20 things, and like half of them nobody's even watched. There's 0 views. All right, let's start with the base, with the concept. Very nostalgic. This reminds me of a lot of the levels that you actually went on, and there's probably ties to the specific Mega Man 11, which again, I haven't played. I remember arrows that you see on the side, depending on what you think the front of this is. I remember kind of that blue technical structure, almost like working in a factory. And then you have Mega Man, and there's tons of stuff going on around him. So first of all, there's a lot of explosions, hence what all the smoke is. So he missed that. Now we'll talk about paint and sculpt, and we'll do close-up videos of that. But you see the fire kind of blowing up around him. It does have a cool light-up feature we're going to talk about in design. I can't remember the name of his enemy here, but he knocked him upside down on his head. I remember those guys, at least the early versions of them. Mega Man is almost mid-air, which I absolutely love. So he's in the middle of a jump, and he has a rocket that just missed him right behind him. This is a very dynamic statue. You can see the big explosion on the back we'll look closer at, and I think they did an amazing job. It's like he's suspended there in midair. He's got his cannon ready. He's trying to keep balance. Really well done job on the concept for this piece. I think it's a 5 out of 5. Really impressed. So when we talk about design, one of the things we talk about is, did they try and go really elaborate or really boring? And if they try to go really elaborate, usually that's harder to do. So you got to give them a little bit of leniency. I don't really think we need to, because I think they pulled it off. But let's look at the unboxing and assembly really quick. The First Four Figures always has some pretty pristine packaging. They double box it, and then the art box, here's a few different shots of that. Tons of artwork all over that. They have a COA card, you can see it right here, and this foam actually has stuff etched into it. But here it is, everything wrapped. I had no breakages, which is fantastic. Here's everything unwrapped. right, so as you see, it does have a light up feature. And it's plugged in right here, but it is a rechargeable battery in the bottom. So it's actually charging right now. So if I unplugged it, it would actually stay on, as you see. And then it has a button right here to turn it on and off. And while I usually don't use light up features, I think the fact it's a rechargeable battery is really smart. And I think it adds a lot to this statue. Now, not all the versions of this had light up features. There were essentially 3 different versions that we're going to talk about when we get to value. As you saw me assemble it, everything fit together really well. There's really no seam issues. It's very dynamic. I think the design is incredibly impressive on this. Let me get some quick measurements on him. Now, a little bit difficult to tell what's exactly the front because he can be displayed from so many different angles. But the widest point is probably about 11 inches or so. And that's wider than the actual base. The deepest part is probably near 13 or 14. Then the tallest part is right under 16 inches. Now, since he's a fictional character, I don't know if there's stats on what his actual size was. So I don't know what the scale for this is, but it's very similar to those Sonic and Mario pieces that I have from First 4 Figures, and that's where he's being displayed. If you want to see what he looks like next to him, I post exclusive content on the Extreme Channel social media. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. The link for those is in the description below. So really, designed, I give him a 4 out of 5. It's really impressive. They pulled it off. Well done, First 4 Figures. Now, paint and sculpt is normally where they lack on a little bit. And there's a few things I definitely would have changed here, mainly the smoke, but I love everything else about it. So let's dive in and look at that. Now, you're not going to see what I call micro detail on this, but nor is it intended to because it's pulled straight from a video game. But let's start with the base. I love the layering of the different blues on here. Kind of gives you this techno factory vibe. And then the arrows light up. Again, this was always the way to go. Very nostalgic on this. And there's a lot of wear on this statue. It almost looks like the statue's dirty, but that was very intentional. And even broken smudge pieces right here. At first, I thought this was what was broken in it, but I think they did a really nice job on the base. Almost looks like steel plating on the top. I like that dirt effect because if there's this much going on, the explosions, that would make sense. Now, the smoke is the weakest part, and smoke is incredibly hard to do on a statue. I think the paint job looks decent. I think the sculpt is where it's suffering a little bit more. It's too Stay Puft Marshmallowy. But I'm okay with it. I mean, it's not great, but it's not horrible. Now, I like these explosions, these coming up right here. The light effect really helps. But I think on the back, it's too Superman crystal vibe for me. Now, granted, it's on the back, so you kind of just see the tops of it through. And I think that takes away from it in a really good way. Now, when you get to the characters or even the rocket, it's very comical or animation-like because it's from a video game. I think the light up on the back of the rocket that the smoke's coming from looks fantastic. Very clean paint on this. I like the shine to that rocket. Again, not a lot of detail on this, but I think that that's very true to the game. And even some comical right there. The little, I don't even know what to call that, upside down crown that insinuates he was just knocked over or jumped on by Mega Man. Speaking of Mega Man 2, I like how his helmet and arms and boots have that gloss shine to his armor. Looks great. The cannon with the light up feature looks really good. And the paint's really clean on this one. I know there are a few complaints, and again, you see a few scuffs here and there, but it's specifically listed that everything is battle damage, so I think that is intentional. And I saw some people on a forum kind of complaining about this, but I think that it's supposed to be that way. Otherwise, there's like, wow, so they just bashed it up in like 40 different places. The lighter blue blends really well. It's a classic Mega Man outfit. Let's take a look at his portrait. Again, very non-detailed, I guess I could say, very plain. The decals on the eyes are not the best. I think that's a huge miss, in my opinion. Now, unless you're displaying them up high, you're not going to see them as much. But the rest of it, I'm really impressed. I mean, I think they did a decent job for what they were going for and what they had. So, but it's kind of what you expect from First 4 Figures as well. And the price point, which we'll talk about. All right, paint. You know, at first I thought they messed up on a lot of areas, but that's actually supposed to be the battle damage. You know, I think it's really well done, actually. I'm impressed. It's clean. I don't have too many issues with mine. I think the paint's a 4 out of 5. I am impressed. For sculpt, I wish the smoke and the explosion would have been done differently. However, this really makes it still feel like it's a video game. So I don't know if that was intentional, and if it was smart. So I give the sculpt a 3 out of 5. I think it's solid. There's just not a lot of detail, nor do I think there needs to be. All right, so let's talk about value. Now, as I said, they made 3 different versions. The original, or the bottom standard version, doesn't have his enemy, the rocket, or the light up feature. The exclusive has the light up feature, and again, not his enemy or the rocket. And then this definitive edition has all of that. This was $70 more than the other pieces. This retailed right at $4.99. Now, I don't know how many they made of these. First 4 Figures always seems very secretive on their edition size. It's hard to find on their website. It's hard to find on the bottom of the base. So I don't know. So it's hard for me to assign a value. So I'm just looking at, hey, it's a $500 statue that's honestly as big as most premium formats with everything that's going on. So I think that is a good value looking at it that way, not knowing how many they made. So I'm going to give the value a 4 out of 5 because I do think this is the best Mega Man statue out there. Which brings me to, does this have the X factor? Is this a 5 out of 5? The kid in me and my nostalgic ties to this want to say, yes, this is a 5 out of 5 statue, but it's not. But I'm still going to give it a 4 out of 5 because I think they did it really well. It's very exciting to have this in the house. I mean, I'm really stoked about this. So what do you guys think? Is this the best Mega Man statue out there? Do you even know who Mega Man is? I asked you to comment because I read every single comment, and it enters you into a statue giveaway. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Alright guys, you know the drill. I do appreciate you so much. Please hit that like button. Please drop a comment. Share this content. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, there's tons of stool... Did I say stool? I might have. There's a lot of cool stuff and some other videos. Check those out.